Hello. I just kind of wanted to introduce myself to anybody who I haven't already reached out um, or been able to reach, I should say. So, first, I just want to say my name is Laura. I've been a registered nurse for 21 years. I did keto for 28 years, starting when I was 20. Been carnivore for 3 years now. So, pretty excited about the carnivore community, how large it's getting. So I just wanted to go over with you my why of why I started doing keto and then eventually finding carnivore. So when I was 20, I was morbidly obese. My triglycerides were over 1,000. I don't believe they had a hemoglobin A1C at the point at that time, back in 1991. They were able to tell me I was pre-diabetic, and by the following year I would be insulin dependent. They were quite sure, which kind of confused me because I was under direct care of a physician who I trusted, was eating his fake butter, fake eggs, fake bacon, which is turkey bacon for those of you that's fake. And just the fake food-like products that say healthy, low fat, blah, blah, blah. So I did that for a year and continually got sicker and sicker. So at this appointment, when I saw him in 1991, he handed me a script, the old paper scripts for Lipitor, which was brand new that year. And I just was deflated. I looked at that and I thought, really, I'm reduced to taking a pill. So I promptly left his office, took the script with me, went to our library that we had in my little town. I'm not going to name it because then everybody will know what doctor it is. Very small town in Iowa. And I went to the old library and pulled out every medical book I could find that was from like the 1850s up to, I think the most recent one I dealt with was 1910, 1909, something like that. Before, all the Carnegie and the people took over the medical field. So every single one of those books started with nutrition. And I thought, aha, that makes sense. You are what you eat. Same as when you feed your animals. You have a sick animal and take it to the vet. First thing the vet asks you every single time, what are you feeding your animal? So I just really paid attention to the amount of sugars that had been added after like the 1910s to our foods, and then the need for pharmaceuticals. So I went home. I feel bad that I did this, but I took everything white out of my house and took it to the food pantry because I don't like to waste stuff. But I did feel a little guilty because I thought, here, I'm not really helping these people by giving them the same junk that, took me down the rabbit hole. But I thought, well, it's better than absolutely zero. Now, today, if I had that same, it'd just go in the trash. But I did that. I kept this script on my dresser for 9 months. I just basically followed common sense eating. I basically ate like my grandparents. I started cooking in bacon grease, using real butter, real eggs, the whole egg, nothing out of a package. I just learned how to make things basically keto. Before it was keto is what I had done. I really, very few vegetables. I've never been a vegetable eater. They've always bothered me. So I thought, if something makes me feel crappy, I'm not going to take it. That's kind of stupid. So I don't do it. And at 9 months, I went back to see him. I had had my blood work done. I had lost 140 pounds, and none of that was through movement because I could not move. I promise you. I mean, I worked, but I did no exercise because I really couldn't. I was so deconditioned from the standard American diet. So I went back to see him, and he walked in, and of course, he was just so proud of himself. He was patting himself on the back of how he had saved my life and cured my issues. So I just kind of sat there and I sat back and I just looked at him. And he said, "What?" And I said, "I am ashamed of you." I'm like, here you are, medically trained. You should know more about how the human body works than I do, but you don't. You never asked me about what I was eating. You told me what I should be eating, but you never asked me what I was actually eating. I said, and that's a travesty, to do no harm is an oath that you guys took, and yet you do it every day. And he was like, well, He goes, Lipitor is what got you where you are. And I said, no, it's not. And I literally took the script and handed it back to him and promptly fired him. So the funny thing about that story is I was not a nurse. I was working, trying to think, then I would have been building semis. I worked for a semi company. I'm not going to say the name of that company because that'll say where I was at. Anyway, so continued eating that way for many, I did it for 28 years, but 16 years after seeing him for my last visit with him, I was in RN clinicals at a major university, I'm not going to say, and I was on the cardiac floor. And I don't know if you believe in karma, but I do. And I got my person for the day that I was going to be, taking care of with, my nurse supervisor over me. And it was that same said doctor. And I don't find joy in somebody having to have like open heart surgery or something like that. I don't want it to come off like that. But there is some, not really justification, but it's like, I told you. So anyway, I walk in his room. He's intubated still had the pacer wires, things like that still in place. So he was awake, and I told the nurse, I said, he may not want me as his patient. I did fire him, and it was pretty, I wasn't super hateful, but I definitely let him know what I thought, which I'm sure he didn't care. And of course, he acted like he had no memory, and it had been 16 years. He'd seen lots of people. So anyway, I went in. He said, yeah, it was fine. He nodded his head. So I went in. Of course, he's intubated, so he can't talk back. He can write, but he can't talk. So I red-pilled him on keto and what had worked for me and why I did it and what I believe the way the human pathophysiology is set up, and that he should have known it better than I did. And he listened. Of course, he didn't have a choice, really. But I extubated him the next day, and then when I said, you don't remember me? And he said, no. And I said, well, I'm the one that you told me I was going to die a fat ass when I was 20 if I didn't take your Lipitor and follow your crazy standard American diet. And he said, oh. I said, yeah. I'm 30. I was 37, I think, or 38. I don't remember at the time. And he had had a 5-way bypass, which like I said, I don't wish that on anybody. It's horrible. Life-altering, life-changing, and kind of the end of the line. You can only have so much of that because there's only so many arteries and veins we can borrow to put you back together. So he didn't really talk to me a whole lot about that. But then about a year later, it would have been 2009, he reached out to my mom. My mom saw a physician next door to his office for several years. And he knew my mom, of course, and he had known me. And he asked her, can I have her phone number? Can you tell me, or give her my phone number? I want to talk to her. So fast forward to today, and said doctor is now ketovore. He's not full on carnivore, which is fine. Some people, if you want to eat vegetables, I say do it. Just be mindful that you're not probably going to break down the nutrients and the vitamins that you think you're getting from them unless somehow you have a ruminant stomach and you can break down cellulose. So before I get off of here, just because I wanted to reintroduce myself, I'm going to do some more videos on this carnivore lifestyle. I may kind of integrate some of my prepping stuff that I do. Also, I do canned meat. I do all kinds of stuff. So I want to give some page mentions. So probably the one that I started following first to be like, hey, I'm not the only crazy person. There are more of us out there, was Dr. Ken Berry and Nisha, Kelly Hogan, Dr. Baker, Carrie from Homestead How is who I've been following recently, and Bill Knott. Who can't love Bill Knott? He's the greatest guy. Dr. Chaffee, Ferrigno Freedom. I really enjoy watching his videos. We have some similar background of being in healthcare during the whole COVID thing, which that'll be another video sometime. Carnivore Backwoods, really love his content. Hanging with the Browns, I absolutely love that couple. They are wonderful. You should watch them. Sightless Carnivores, JT, and I don't have his handle, I apologize. but he's on with Carrie quite a bit. So if you wanted to find him, you could look him up through there. Intentional Carnivore, Alia Wells, and Carnivore Today. So that's just some of the ones that I follow. I follow several. So the last thing I'm going to leave you with is if you're following or you're kind of curious about carnivore, ketovore, I would say follow Ken Berry. But the first thing is you have to know your why. Are you trying to heal yourself? Are you trying to have longevity, which kind of goes hand in hand? What is your why? You want to write that down, and you want to kind of look at it every day as to, this is my why. So that's what I would recommend. And then my channel is called Eat to Your Health with Carnivore. My Facebook page is Eat to Your Health with Keto Carnivore. I just couldn't fit it in on this one. I do think there are some people who can do keto. You know, my husband's being one of those, that it doesn't affect him. You know, he's done great. And I'm never going to push anybody to do something they don't want to do. I do try to educate on how the body works. So anybody can reach out to me. My Pinterest, if you want any of the pins that are on there, it is LPRUSSELL. It's all lower case. You could go in there and snag any of them that you want. So I hope this helps. I hope, you have some questions that you'll go on and look up some of these people and see if we can't get a few more Americans healthy. Have a great day. And actually, not just Americans, anywhere. Have a great day.